Drummers against implied timekeeping, Richard D'Albus. It's a more of a pet peeve time again. I want to tell you again about ride cymbals. I've done videos on cymbals before. How to kill your cymbal or eat your cymbals, I did a while back. And then a few years ago on my channel here, I did the greatest cymbal and just cymbals in general. Please go into my catalog and look at these videos, anything dealing with cymbals. But I am very particular regarding ride cymbals. These tend to be larger cymbals and heavier cymbals. And they came about actually in the 30s. During the big band era, most drummers would play cymbals that were between 14 and 18 inches. But with the jazz developing into a kind of a different form, by 1940 on to 1945, 46, as the bebop era came into play, the idea of using a ride cymbal pattern, a jazz pattern, became very predominant in jazz music. So cymbals started to become larger, past 20 inches to 22 inches. And the basis of the music rhythmically was to use the ride cymbal pattern in jazz. And obviously rock and rhythm and blues didn't come along yet, but as the ride cymbal has developed for the past, let's say 75 years, 80 years, it is expected on every drum set to use this big piece of metal. It is predominantly in the front. You use it on all your patterns when you're playing choruses, and it's used in just about everything nowadays for the past 80 years. And I have issues with ride cymbals because they're terrible crash cymbals. They're very expensive cymbals, and they don't do that much in my view when you look at the entire drum set. So I tend to like crash cymbals. 18, 19, and 20-inch crash cymbals, even 22-inch crash cymbals, which would mean they were thinner cymbals, because the thinner the cymbal, the higher the sound range, whereas heavy cymbals tend to be lower. And I want to stress that to everybody. Ride cymbals are, of all the cymbals on the drum set, the least important. Yet I know many drummers swear by their ride cymbal. It's almost their calling card to use it, and they love them. And I can understand that, but they're not versatile. They're very expensive, and you can't crash them. Whereas crash cymbals, you can ride them to a certain extent, and you can use the bell to a certain extent. So there's much more variance in color using a crash cymbal or a larger crash cymbal. So that's why I'm doing this rant. If you can, and you have your ride cymbal, I understand that. But try to understand in the context of time and music, as you evolve as a drummer, your ride cymbal is just not that important, in my view. You can use it. You're using it for pop or rock or rhythm and blues and reggae and world music, but you can use other cymbals just as effectively, maybe more so. So if you're going to spend X amount of dollars on cymbals, I'll look to crash cymbals that can be crash rides, would be the point of this video, all right? And take a look at my other videos dealing with overuse of crash cymbals and the greatest cymbal. What is the greatest cymbal? I have that as well, because I want to expose younger drummers. It's almost a given on a drum set to have a large ride cymbal. It's been around, as I say, for 75, 80 years, no question. But I want you to rethink it. I don't care what style of music you're playing, to look at the ride cymbal as something you would get down the line later. Your primary cymbal or cymbals should be crash rides or crashes, thinner crashes, because they're a more open palette to the drum set. And I don't care what style of music you're playing, all right? So this is not good for ride cymbal manufacturers video, but this is what I wanted to tell you after playing, oh God, again, a long time, a very long time. I've had so many ride cymbals, maybe 15 ride cymbals I've had. And the first cymbal I ever got was a 22-inch medium ride Zildjian in the 60s. But I look back on all these ride cymbals and thought, gee, how many crash cymbals I could have gotten. So the range is usually 20-inch, 19-inch, 18-inch, somewhere in there. And I've heard, and I gotta say, there are some 22-inch crash cymbals that are excellent. All of them make them. Paiste and Zildjian and, Sabian. Look into, if you're gonna get a large cymbal, look into a thinner crash ride or crash cymbal. It's an excellent ride cymbal too. Whereas the other way around, it is not the case, all right? If you're getting equipment, ask me. I can just give you my opinion, of course, this is my opinion, and advise you on what to gear towards on your gear. And welcome everyone who's visiting my channel. I have hundreds of videos in my catalog playing in the open-handed position. I want to obviously enhance your power, your creativity, though, is the thing that I want to enhance as a player to play drums. And if you haven't, please subscribe, because your subscription is the support for me to just keep going and telling you what I'm thinking these days. So hats off to all drummers always, and you're not cursed having a ride cymbal. I want you to just, with this video, think twice about it, about purchasing it especially. It is the most expensive cymbal you're going to get, and I think you should gear it towards better crash rides or crash cymbals. I'll leave my PayPal account in the comments section. Any support you can do for me, thank you always for that. And let me know what you're up to as far as your journey on playing the drums. I always think of it as a long road, not a short road. Always play, always improving your situation and trying your best, all right? My best to all of you looking in, and I look forward to seeing what you think. Take care.